the countless ways in which we learn, intuit, decipher how to read presence and how to enable the teaching of the very moments that we inhabit to speak to us, of us, from us, the circle, the loop of life, of our very being, are endless. Firstly, we come to a relationship with perhaps God's or absolute love by praying on our hands and knees, using words to speak to an infinite being, a God, an absolute object from a lone subject. And we begin in a spiritual undertaking, a relationship with our interior world that enables us to fall in love with a bigger story, with big mind. And we begin to experience change, transformation, difference, otherness. We begin to notice the ways in which we are able to live and be and operate in the world of people, places and things in a way which is different to how we once lived. Perhaps this is born out of suffering, perhaps this is born out of brokenness, emptiness. The plans and programs for the first half of life collapse, and we are left with the gift of desperation. On that flimsy reed, we begin to build a wonderfully effective spiritual structure. And the more we invest in this relationship, the more a sense of wholeness, of completion grows. We continue to pray to the God or the gods, or the higher power, or the being, in the way in which makes sense to us and not in the way in which the group prescribes. And we change, we are changed, even better. And this relationship develops. So we begin to no longer look for happiness in outside objects, in relationships, again to people, places and things. We don't look along the sofa of our homes, the couch of our homes, across the room of where we live, to the people for our happiness. We move inward, we reflect, we mirror inwards to uncover happiness that is already with us, present, a current sense of being, our interior world. We may experience peak experiences, moments of unified, unparalleled consciousness spontaneously erupt in our day. We feel serenity, we weep with joy instead of sadness or crying because we need and want and hurt and suffer and are broken. We have ecstatic moments. Often these are not characterized by the things we do to bring them around, the countless paths, practices and undertakings we use as further objects, as sacraments in order to meet the divine in the everyday. The divine jumps us. We are mugged by magnificence. We are struck by the profundity of ordinary being. We're washing up, we're ironing, we're walking. Suddenly we're not at the ocean or in a forest or with animals, but we begin to experience spontaneous, erupting, simple, ordinary, prosaic ecstasy, serenity, whatever label we want to call it. The concreteness of our very moments, of our everyday, allow for the development of a way of seeing, capital S, the world with new eyes. We are given a new pair of glasses with which to see spiritually. And out of this, a happiness is found as an innate presence, introverted. And once this sense of deep introversion is embodied, once we begin to live and breathe and use that as our starting point, we point out into the lives of those we encounter, and everything and everyone and all of it is a sacrament. We discover, much to our amazement, that our own suffering, that the suffering of others are sacramental opportunities, or sacred opportunities to witness the divine and to witness for the divine. We realize the unification, the conscious, present, awake, free, aware offering. That is the very reality we inhabit, the everyday profundity of our ordinary lives. We have eyes to see in such a way. We offer gifts as much as they're given to us. We gracefully, by the movement of energy and power and divinity that pours out through our very being, to those seemingly less fortunate than ourselves, those that, though they may have been marginalised by society, by community, by family, by their attachments or their addictions, or that which has demonised their very sense of being in a modern world. So many marginalised, so many disenfranchised. Friends of the Christ character, the prostitutes, the drug addicts, those with complex mental health problems. We become servant-hearted, and as much as we are given, so we give back. So it would seem. But then, when isn't being a human being an act of offering? When are we not moved from our self and our self-concept and our self-centeredness and our self-aggrandizement and our self-seeking and our plans and schemes for how we would have life so that we can find happiness in accumulation, in attachments, in collecting, in consumerism, in indifference to ecological matters? And we're broken free of this at last. We are broken free at last. Did we do it? Of course not. If I had broken free by my own will, then I would be in another pattern, another will, the self-will, run riot. Finally, we're able to read life as it is, not as we would have it be. And we're moved through emptiness as layers of apparent fullness are shed, pass us by, and we fall upwards. Yes. And thank you.